Hey guys, what's going on? It's Quicksilver here. Let me see. I've been doing a lot of work with ice lately. I know I did a little special supplemental video on it, talking about how in 1.7, and actually as it's turned out in Minecraft 1.6.4, anything that's above level 90, and rather any water source block that's above level 90, will freeze unless it is protected. If you had noticed, there's a little dot in the middle of my ring above my iron golem farm. I actually forgot to cover that up, and the guys in this side were just kind of piling up because the water source block right down here that pushes them through the iron golem farm had frozen. So it was an easy fix. Just had to throw a torch down next to it and it melted, and then I threw the little covers up here above the holes, and everything's hunky-dory and it all works well. But yeah, I've been talking so much about ice, guys, lately that I think it's probably time, especially with the 1.7, 1.6.4. I don't know. I wanted to call it an annoyance, but I think I'm going to try and turn it into a good thing because I wanted to build an ice farm for you guys, but didn't really feel like traveling all the way to the taiga forest way over that hill so that we could get to a cold area. But because things that are above 90 now will freeze, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to build it right back over in this area. Did a little terraforming, kind of filled the, there was a big dip down over here at one point in time. But filled that in, and I'm pretty sure that the mob spawner is on this side of the hill, or the area where the mobs are being spawned for the mob grinder up there. So I think we'll be okay if we want to dig into there. And it just so happens this is a perfect area for it. When we're down here, we're at Y83, so pretty clearly you guys can probably already guess without me even hopping up here. We hit Y90 right here. So basically anything that pops up above here, or any water source block, man, I keep saying anything, like a cow's gonna freeze solid up here or something. Any exposed source block of water up here is going to turn into ice. And I've been doing a little research on YouTube to try and find a good ice farm design that I could use for you guys, but was not really happy with what I was finding. So did a little work, came up with a couple little things that I can kind of tweak, and I think I've got my own ice farm design that I'm going to try and I think maybe build like an ice temple or something like that is going to be, I guess, the kind of the concept here. So I think I'll probably kind of smooth this out a little bit, and I like the idea of just kind of building right into this cliff face here. Just the exposed natural raw stone that happens to just be there, that was just dumb luck. I think if I kind of fill this in a little bit with some of the stone that I've actually cooked up underneath the base, I think I can do something kind of cool here. There's an ancient temple, I guess, someplace in real life called Petra, which I guess whoever built it, I don't know if it was like Sumerians or Syrians or where the hell it is, one of those S cultures, way back in the day, actually carved into the side of a temple. They carved They carved into the side of a cliff, like a temple or something cool like that. So I'm thinking it might be kind of neat if we can maybe pull something like that off. So I'm thinking that's the plan. Not sure how far we're going to get with all that today. I may try and do some of the building off camera, but I do want to head over to my contraption world now and kind of show you what I'm thinking about for this ice farm, because I actually have a working prototype and a couple of options that I want to show you in there. So I'm going to head over there and let you guys have a peek at what the plan is. Okay, so here we are. This is basically the ice farm in a nutshell that I'm thinking here, and I'll show you kind of the way that it's going to work is wherever we go into this thing. This is just kind of a small one that I've built. We could make this thing go a little significantly larger if we wanted to, and I have a couple of thoughts on that I'll show you in a minute here. But just the way it works is if we were to dig out, let's say we dig out this whole row, why not? Let's pretend we silk touched those out. I actually I forgot to show you. I used my silk touch book that I had and I threw it on a pair of shears, because I know if you have silk touch shears and you use them on ice, they actually don't take any damage from use. So I should be able to use those forever. And what do you want to do with ice? Well, it looks pretty cool. So there could be some neat builds and stuff like that we could do with it, but I think moreover, we'll probably use it for like fast transport and stuff like that. But I will show you how this thing works. I've got a manual reset button here that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use just to show you how this thing pulses down. When we pop that in there, you will see this will shove down, and that's in a nutshell, that's how it's gonna be built. What I've actually got up here, I'll show you kind of, let's give you a little aerial view of this thing. I've tried to make it as compact as I can, but I think I'm probably going to make this even bigger when we do it in our world, and I'll show you why in a minute. But underneath, oh man, here, hate the snow, man. It's almost as bad as the rain. It's like, it's like crazy staticky looking crazy stuff. So anyway, not that you guys need that, we'll just toggle the downfall. Okay, so here's what we have, just in a nutshell. We have this one area right here, this little, oh, there you go, we're already freezing. That is our water source blocks, and what we're doing is, the reality of this thing is, it's actually, there's water source blocks underneath here, and underneath here, and underneath here. So what happens is when this freezes, I've got a timer back there, there are pistons underneath it for the floor. So I'm not even sure, I haven't checked what the time is on it. It's 2 stacks worth of items in our timer over there. Every time it passes all those items between the hopper timer, I think it's a total of 2 times, so it's basically the same as 4 stacks. Then the pistons down here pulse up. Then it also gives a pulse to very shortly after to these pistons, which shove the ice over, and then these pistons shove down. And to make sure we can't break this thing, I've got some obsidian here, and I've used obsidian because the pistons can't push that. So if this thing fills up with ice like it was when you guys first saw it, and these pistons fire, they won't do anything because they can't move the obsidian, so they basically just sit there. And then I've done the same thing underneath down here so that these pistons can't push the earth around and make messes of things and all that crud. Otherwise, really, this is the main concern. If I didn't have the obsidian here, then what would happen is this ice would push over, and then once this thing was all full, it would continue to push over, and it would shove this over, and all our redstone stuff here would pop off, and that would just be bad. So anyway, let me kind of go through the parts to this thing, and I'll kind of show you how it works. I've already explained the ice tray itself, which is, again, it's just 1 source block wide, but I can make this thing as long as I want to. I've just done this one 6 wide, but I could obviously make this a lot bigger and it would do more. Okay, so there you go. So that's a good example. You just got to see how the pistons fire and how they work. So now I will actually go down below and I'll show you the actual mechanism that makes all this happen. So underneath this little row of pistons that we have facing up, none of these are stickies, of course. We just want to shove the ice. We don't want to pull it back. But underneath this row of pistons, I've got a row of redstone torches that are being turned off by the repeaters here that connect to 2 things. They're actually powered by this little doohickey right here, this little torch, which is where our manual reset that I was showing you guys comes into play right here. It just puts some power into this, which is the same thing we're doing from back here. So these torches power the pistons that push up. That's the big thing to know, and we're controlling them via all this good stuff back here. And we actually have a couple of things happening. Right here is just a little hopper timer. I believe it's Etho's hopper timer, which is awesome. Gotta love it. The way it works is this redstone block locks one side or the other, but it also acts as our power source. We've got 2 stacks that pass from left to right. Once they get once the one side is emptied out, it will lose power, which will cause this piston to win. There's a constant, these are both sticky pistons, so there's like a constant battle going on between these two. But as soon as one side runs out of power, it'll shove it over, and then it'll lock this side and it'll start passing all the stuff back, and then when that happens, it'll shove it back. So that's what gives us our constant back forth thing that happens here. But then once it comes over here, we've got a really short trip right here, and then this is actually, I think it's called a mono unstable circuit. I'm not really sure, but it's the same thing that I used in the chicken farm to kind of control the timer there for the automatic cooker. And what it does is it turns a constant redstone pulse, like what we've got happening right here with the redstone block, or this could be a torch, or more commonly you see it with a lever, but we're using it with the redstone block that's getting shoved back and forth. And it's turning that constant signal into just a little redstone pulse, no different than if we pushed a button. And the way it does that is the power comes into here, which turns this off, so there's no, well, actually the power, I'm not sure where it's picking this up from, but oh, I guess it's picking it up from this block. Anyway, when this thing slides back, this power kicks on for a second, and we basically just get a little pulse that lets this thing come on, and then briefly right after that, it will turn it right back off. So that's the way that works. Anyway, we're picking that signal up here, which then does the main thing that it does is it turns these pistons off, or turns these pistons, wow, turns this stuff off, which then lets the redstone torches power on, but it only does it briefly because of the way this thing works. So we get the little quick pulse right here that shoves our ice up if there's any there, and then it pulls right back down. As soon as it pulls down, the water source blocks that are under here reflood the area, which lets us have water source blocks filling this little trough, and then they can freeze into ice, which is what we want. So the second thing that this does is it sends our redstone pulse into this, which is our vertical wiring, which comes up here, and then I've just got a couple repeaters here for delay, which then power these pistons, which shove out if they can. So first the ice gets pushed up, then it gets pushed over, and then the next thing we do is we pick up that signal right over here, send it through another delay, and it comes around to these pistons, which are facing down, which then shove all the ice down here. So that ultimately, and as you can tell, it's really uneven. Ultimately, it becomes just this big smooth mass of ice, but you get these really weird kind of things. And the reason for that is just until, like, if this ice block freezes, then it'll get shoved up and then over, and then this will get shoved down, and our wall will be nice and smooth here, and it'll look all cool. And then this will still be open, and it'll continue to do it until it ends up looking like this. And the reason this one looks like that is because this is solid ice, that's solid ice, and on here, and then all the way down to the bottom down there. So that's basically the ice machine and how that thing's going to work. As it stands now, I believe it's 6 by 4, so we get 24 ice blocks out of this thing, which isn't a whole hell of a lot. Didn't seem to take too long for this thing to fill up. I'm going to guesstimate maybe a half an hour, but that's a little bit long time to wait for 24 ice blocks. Now I don't think I'm going to use them a ton, so that's probably plenty. But the plan that I've got, I think, for us in the main world is I'm going to be a little more aggressive with this thing. And I'll show you a couple thoughts that I had, and it's really this wall over here is what has caused me to be a little more aggressive in thought with this thing. And so I think what we're going to do, where I've got this thing placed, where the ice kind of cascades down, or where this wall comes down, here we go, there, now it's all nice and smooth. There's no reason that it's this close to the ice tray itself. We can move this thing up to 12 blocks away, because that's how far the pistons will push, and then we can push this thing down. The only thing I'd need to do is extend, where this redstone comes over, which is easy to do. The signal that we're getting off of this thing is pretty strong, and we're running it through these repeaters so that we can get delay. So it'd be really easy to just move this whole thing out that pushes down, and we'd just have a big long, I guess, row of ice that would come across here before we push it down. And the beauty of that is it would give us more room behind the wall of ice to do something else. So what I'm thinking, like right here, I've just got the one block wide gap of air. But what I'm thinking is if we have 5 blocks, we can do this. And if we create this little guy, and I'll show you how this works in just a minute, what happens is if I created a bud switch, for example, down here, we could pick up the signal as soon as we get a full row of ice, and it's probably not just going to be one row, so it's still going to be uneven, but it'll start becoming uneven in a different direction. But once we've tripped that bud switch, we could send power through just like this, and I've figured out a way that we can have an entire wall of pistons. So in this case, we're 6 wide by 4 high, which would fit right behind that. And what that would let us do is, in addition to all the movement we were push up, over, and down, we could then push out the entire wall of ice this direction. And the way that would work is every time our bud switch got updated, it would shove that ice out. So we probably wouldn't end up with a nice smooth wall like this unless it was running for a long time. But again, if I had a wall of obsidian over on the opposite side of this thing, then we could really fill up an entire area. So we could get it, instead of getting just I guess what is this, I guess for lack of better terms, 2-dimensional grid, we could actually get more of a cubic grid. So instead of getting square square blocks. I don't know what they call them. It's not really square feet, square meters of ice. We get cubic meters of ice by shoving one of these things behind it and letting it bud off of it. Now it looks kind of complicated back here. It's really not that bad. It's the same thing, and it just repeats it tiles over and over and over again. So I've done that. I've created that over here, and the way it works, I'll show you. When we hit that lever, obviously we can see that all the pistons fire. And the way that we build this little thing is we place our wall of pistons up, and you can keep doing this thing up and up and up and up to it. There's no reason that it has to stop at 4 high. You can keep building it up and up and up, higher and higher. But the way that it works, the only time you have to do anything a little tricky, it's a little redstone intensive, but I think for what we're doing and for where we are in the end game, I guess if you want to call it, of Minecraft, I think we're pretty far in, so I'm not too concerned with conserving redstone. If we have our wall of pistons behind the rightmost one, we'll throw down a repeater, no delay, with a block behind it with some redstone on it, and next to that repeater we'll have another full block with redstone on top of that, and then we'll redstone behind it on the ground, and that's basically going to connect all 4 of these together. But because of the way this thing builds, it gets kind of kooky. So we get away with doing some things that you couldn't normally do with a redstone build. And I will tell you, it's probably easier to place all the blocks before you try and place the redstone. So just for giggles, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that really fast here, just so I can show you the block placement. I would say let's go ahead. We'll place this guy because that's pretty easy. But then it's going to be a solid block here, a solid block here. Then behind that guy we want to have a half slab there with a full slab. I think it's right here, or a full slab, a full block there, I believe. Then here's why we don't want to place the redstone, because we have to do stuff like this so that we can get everything placed the right way. But yeah, so then we'll do that, and then we'll throw this one here and that next to it. And then I think the last thing when you get to the very top is we actually will put a block up on the very top like that. And the only reason we have to do that is so that this doesn't cross wire with that. Otherwise this piston won't fire off correctly. But then once we've got that done, we can place our redstone, and it just kind of spirals down through this thing. Like that, and then we got to get on that block back there, and then here. And then if I've done everything correctly, God willing, I'm not going to look like an idiot. We'll see soon. When I throw that switch, I forgot to put my redstone right here. So then when we do that. So there you go. So like I said, it's not too tough to build, but what that's going to do is that's going to let you push out a massive amount of anything. So I wanted to show you how that's done. Like I said, I'm probably going to try and figure out a way to use it with the ice in our Let's Play world, but like I said, I wanted to show this to you in here, again, because I can fly around it and it's easier to show you. I'm not sure how much of the building of this I'm going to show you in my world. But yeah, I guess at this point I'm going to shut up on this. This is obviously going to be a couple of videos that it's going to take to show this all to you. But yeah, I guess in the meantime maybe I'll head back into the other world and do some off-camera terraforming over for, I don't know if we want to call the ice, I guess we'll call it our ice temple. I'll go do some terraforming over there and try and get that place prettied up a bit, and then we can figure out how we're going to do this. The only thing that I've got to make sure I do is this area right here where we have our water source blocks has to be exposed to the sky so that it'll continue to freeze. If it's not exposed to the sky, then we won't get ice in it, so I can't cover it with anything. I can't put glass over it or anything like that. So in the top of our hill we are going to have I guess a hole in the ground that leads into water, so I'll throw fences around it or something like that. And I'm not sure, I might do a little experimentation just to see if I can throw a fence above this. I think that might not count as a no-no block that'll keep things from freezing, but I may goof around with that a little bit to see what I can find out. Alright, so we've got a pretty decent start on this, I guess the entranceway to the ice temple. After doing some carving, I might change my mind on just trying to carve it out of the cliff face. I don't know, right now it's, sorry, there was a block up there that was bugging me. Right now it's a little bit too uniform. I don't think it's going to work like I had originally had in mind. But who knows, maybe I can add some more give a little more character, maybe have some more blocks poking out. I'll play around with it a little bit, and obviously you guys will see what I land on. But yeah, I'm thinking we'll go in here, and then we've got kind of this cool archway carved out of the cliff face, or built out of the cliff face, depending on what looks best or what works best. I kind of like these loose arches that I'm kind of working with here, and kind of making a pseudo-arched doorway entrance. Again, I might, if I do play around with this thing, using any other type of a column mechanism, which I'm kind of starting to think might be cool. If these were stone half slabs, it might be cool, and then I could put inverted steps up here so we get a little more of a natural feeling to the arch there that would probably echo this a little better. I don't know, I'll play around with it and figure something cool out. But yeah, I think this is going to be our entranceway here. The one thing I do need to be very, very careful of is right on the other side of this wall. I actually am exceptionally close to the mob spawning pads. I didn't think that I was that close, but apparently I carved over here pretty damn far, so I gotta be careful. I was hearing some baby zombies, and the spiders are really annoying. I've got them turned down, so hopefully you guys can't hear them. But yeah, I'm gonna have to be really super careful there. So yeah, I'll continue to play around with this. I know the time's starting to get to be at about the 20-minute mark I like to shoot for with these things, so I apologize. I know a lot of this one was just me talking and trying to explain what I'm going to do and how the ice tray, ice farm, whatever is going to work. But I think that I felt like that was pretty important to let you guys know, so that the next couple of videos will make sense, or at least make a little bit more sense. So yeah, in the meantime, let me go do a little work on this, and I'll try and give you guys a really quick update before I call it the end. Alright guys, so I've made a little bit more progress here, not really too terribly much. Just kind of dug back a little further. I've kind of got this so I can wander around. That's interesting, I can totally hear my mobs right next door to us here. Oh, that's why my sound's turned way up. Okay, well let's turn that down a bit, just so you can hear me. Let me see, I've had some developments. I can still hear those mobs. I'm just going to get out of here. I've had some developments. Obviously I still need to do a lot of work on this as far as shaping it out and making it look more temple-y, but I did check the length on this, and we are getting a little long, and there's some things I wanted to talk to you about really quickly here. I think when my water source block froze over there, and I heard all the rumors about ice and things freezing above level 90 with 1.7, obviously I saw that happen over there. You guys saw it with me. If you were watching my last video, I did have to troubleshoot that for the same reason. However, before I got too involved in this, I wanted to do a quick test, and I've had this water source sitting up here for about 4 Minecraft day-night cycles now, and it is just not freezing at all. It's completely exposed to the sky, so I'm not sure what's up. If this is just a Minecraft 1.6.4 thing, maybe they took it away, maybe they're reconsidering it for 1.7, I don't know. I want to do a little bit of research online because I really do want to build this thing over here. I was looking forward to that ability with 1.7, was going to actually take advantage of something that I was initially thinking was going to be a drag. But if for some reason I'm not able to do that, I guess I will continue to build out that temple over there. I'll try and do some of that stuff off camera, and I'll just give you guys an update on it next time I come in. But if we don't get that, I know there is an ice biome taiga forest that way, about 400 or 500 blocks, I'm going to guess, maybe a little further, just on the other side of this jungle, really. I don't like the thought of doing this, but if I have to, then I guess we'll do an overworld minecart. An overworld minecart track. So, and if I do, I'll use this as the station instead. Like I said, I'm not really thrilled about that idea, but if I don't have a whole lot of choice, then I don't have a whole lot of choice. I hope they didn't decide against making things freeze above level 90. Like I said, I'm not sure why. I've checked the biomes that I'm in, and I'm Extreme Hills biome here, as well as right where that water is. So I'll continue to play around with that, and hopefully we'll see some ice forming up there. But in the meantime, I will call this video an end. I do think it's, I've considered just re-recording it and just maybe leaving this for a later time. But I do think the ice farm is still a pretty decent I think the first half of this video, let me restart that. The first half of this video I think is still pretty valuable. I think the ice farm design that I've got is pretty decent. I'm not sure that I've seen it anywhere else. If I have, I apologize to whoever, but I'm going to claim that one as my own. I don't think there's anything too revolutionary with it, so I don't know that anybody could necessarily claim that as their own. So anyway, but then I guess I just did, so here we go. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Sorry it was a little disjointed and I don't have a little bit more progress to show you and happiness on the ice forming up there. I'm hoping that I'll come back down in here and it will have frozen, and then we can just continue with the original plan. But like I said, if not, then we will go ahead and we'll find another way to build that. So in the meantime, give me a like if you like the video. A thumbs up helps the channel out a lot. And subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I will catch you guys next time.